particular world, if you talk to people who are interested in spirituality or those kinds of things, often it's the ability to say no, or to have what you call healthy anger, that often we just don't know how to use, because we've seen examples of that being misused, and we're going to say, we're not that, right? I'm not that. I'm this other person who doesn't have, but we lose access to the energy of that. And I think one of the interesting things that Trump revealed, in part, was he had this kind of righteous arrogance that I think people actually kind of gravitated towards, because in my view, they were out of touch with that in their own life, or they didn't know how to express that in their own life. And I'm curious if you could say a little bit about how you begin to kind of own all these different parts of ourselves, so we have access to whether it's compassion or anger, whatever the energy force is that we're not allowing.
Well, Trump is a rather obvious example of somebody who was severely traumatized and had to adapt tough, aggressive, selfish, self-aggrandizing, no self-doubt allowed. And part of his confidence is that he really doesn't doubt himself consciously. Unconsciously, he's full of doubt. You can see it every time he opens his mouth. I mean, who would say that I'm a stable genius?
Or I'm the most humble person ever.
Nobody who's stable and nobody who's a genius. Would say that, So he's rather an obvious example who's just completely exiled and suppressed huge parts of himself. And he came from a family where he was severely traumatized. His brother drank himself to death. On the other hand, he's a bit of a too easy a mark. Let me just tell you guys another story about somebody else. If you've read my book, this won't be a surprise to you, but if you haven't, it will be. What if I told you about a 4-year-old girl who's bullied by neighborhood kids and runs into her home to her mommy for protection, and the mother says, "You get out there, there's no room for cowards in this house. No room for cowards here. You get out there and deal with it." Now, how would you see that incident? I think most people in their right minds would see that as the traumatization of a child. This was Hillary Clinton. This story was told at the Democratic Convention where she was nominated in a video biography narrated by the voice of God, Morgan Freeman, and this incident was presented as an example of wonderful resilience-building parenting. Now, remember what happened to the candidate a couple of months later? She was running for the presidency. She developed pneumonia. What did she do with it? Remember? Nothing. Didn't tell anybody.
Did not stop,
She kept going till she collapsed, dehydrated with fever in the street. And the message she got was, not that there's no room for cowards in this house, because a 4-year-old kid running to their mother for protection is not a coward. She's a 4-year-old kid. The message was, there's no room for vulnerability in this house. You better suck it up. And this is celebrated in this culture, and she identifies with that part of herself, which explains so many things about her particular style and life. I'm not talking about politics here, people, although it does impact our politics very much, but what you had in that election was 2 traumatized people running for the presidency. Your choice was, which kind of trauma would you rather choose? And you chose one. There's all kinds of implications, but what I'm saying is that both of these people had, and actually a very insightful conservative columnist in the New York Times, David Brooks, said that what they have in common is that they both resist vulnerability.
Wow.
In other words, those parts of themselves that are vulnerable are just not to be acknowledged. And you remember what happened in the previous election? There was a candidate called Michael Dukakis who ran for the presidency. And oh my God, he'd been to a psychiatrist. And this was held as a mark against him. And when Jimmy Carter acknowledged that, I've had lust in my heart for other women, oh my God, how can you say such a thing? So anybody who's vulnerable is ridiculed in our politics. And these people that exile those vulnerable parts, they are our heroes.
Right. And we don't want them to say it because we don't want to feel it in ourselves.
That's the whole point.
Right?
That's the whole point.
Yeah.
Or we want somebody who is stronger than we are, who doesn't have vulnerability so they can take care of us,
Yeah. Ouch. That hurts.
It's how it works.
Yeah. And anybody running, I'm sure there's some presidents who ran without tons of trauma, but it seems that in those positions you have to be driven by something.
Yeah.
And you're right, the examples that we get often, whether it's a business leader, a political leader, a tech leader, or a lot of these leaders, they're presenting themselves as tough and strong and smarter than other people. I don't know Elon Musk. I've never met Elon Musk, but there's an air about them, as if they're the smart ones and the intelligent ones, and admitting that they're wrong is kind of forbidden in that particular world.
Yeah.
And like anything, that eventually has to come up, right? I mean, it's not like we can pretend anything very long, because eventually our unconscious is going to show it to us.
Eventually,
Whether it's a body ailment or not sleeping at all, or something, right? Something's going to happen that brings that up to the surface.
What's interesting is, like in our leaders, we kind of expect these qualities of toughness and strong and no mistake. Is that the kind of person you choose to be a friend? Who never admits a mistake? Who's got no vulnerabilities?
Yeah.
Who's got no capacity to look at themselves? Who's right about everything? Would you be friends with somebody like that?
Mm-mm.
But these are the people that we admire. There's such a split.
Yeah. I was talking to someone the other day, and it was interesting. I was not that excited actually to jump on the phone call. I was like, but it was kind of on my list of conversations. And as I was talking to him, he revealed something vulnerable. He was like, well, I miss connecting with you, and I feel like I'm worried that you don't like me or you don't want to connect with me or something like that.
Yeah.
I noticed instantly I softened. No. Like I was like not into the call, and instantly like he just revealed something that allowed me to see him as a human being.
And how did that feel to you?
It felt so good.
Yeah.
I felt a lot of love. I was like, oh yeah, okay. Like let's talk about the nervousness that we both feel in connecting.
Yeah.
And it was such a beautiful moment because I did not go into the call like that at all. But there was just one moment where he was just like, well, I just want you to know I feel a little inadequate sometimes reaching out to you or something like that. And I was so amazing. Like instantly my heart was just like so there. Yeah. And it's one of those things that's like so hard to remember, at least for me. Like it's hard to remember that's the chance to actually, that's the kind of door that allows me to kind of go through something.
Well, I think as human beings, we both want to be seen and accepted, and we want to see others. And so much of this culture is about putting up a front, putting up a mask. Like, look at something like Facebook. I mean, even the name, Facebook. Facebook, and you create this face.
Yeah.
And what is it all about? Like Facebook is all about attachment, wanting love.
Yeah.
Because what do people have on Facebook? They have friends. And what do people do on Facebook? They like each other. This is all about, human relationship. Except they don't have friends because they don't allow their real self to be seen.
Yeah.
So the friends are the friends of a face, not the real person.
Yeah.
And the people that like each other, they don't know each other to like each other.
Yeah.
They like an image.
Yeah.
And so the more friends you have, and the more they like you, the more addicted you get to it. Yeah. Why? There's a wonderful physician in San Diego, Dr. Vince Felitti. And Felitti is the one that initiated the very famous adverse childhood experiences studies, which showed the relationship between trauma or early childhood adversity and addiction and mental illness and autoimmune disease and so on. And Felitti said once that it's hard to get enough of something that almost works. If there's an emptiness inside me that I have to fill from the outside by people liking me, then every time I turn to the outside to fill that emptiness, that hole gets bigger.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the more people like you, the bigger that hole gets, and the more you need of it.
Yeah.
Because it almost works. It's like the heroin almost works.
Yeah.
To take the person's pain away.
Yeah.
But only temporarily.
Yeah.
So being liked will give you satisfaction for a moment, but then you need even more and more and more.
Yeah.
And it's all because our attachment needs as children. We're so frustrated in this culture. Again, we're not blaming individual parents. It's the how it isness of things. Our attachment needs, we're so frustrated that we keep trying to meet it through the external world.
Yeah.
And the social media feeds off that.